the league putting all the pressure on us players to make moves. We've made moves. We're waiting on you guys to respond. And at the end of the day, like, I think they're waiting for us players to crack. I'm telling you, we are unified as it gets right now. And like, we don't have a season that says a lot more about the WNBA league than us because we're ready. Like, we are all training. We are all playing. We are ready to go, but we are not going to play for less than what we deserve.
Are you ready for this? Because just moments ago, something unfolded around Caitlin Clark that didn't feel real at first. This wasn't a rumor you could just brush off. Not something that slowly built into a headline. It was sudden, sharp, and confusing, and one word started spreading fast: resigns. At first, people assumed it had to be fake. Just another viral clip. Another misleading post. Because why would Clark step away right now? At the exact moment, everything seemed to be coming together. When the Indiana Fever were finally starting to look like a rising force. When the entire league had its eyes on her. It just didn't make sense. But then more pieces started to surface. More clips. More reactions. And suddenly, it wasn't just her name anymore. It was 3 names: Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull. All connected, all mentioned together in the same moment. That's when confusion turned into something deeper. Fans reacted instantly. What just happened? Did she really resign? Why are all 3 players involved? Is omething going on inside the team? Because when multiple players are tied to one unexpected development, it doesn't feel random, it feels intentional. At first, there was no clear explanation, no official statement, just scattered clips moving across social media. People replaying the same seconds again and again, trying to catch something others missed. And the more they watched, the stranger it felt. The tone, the timing, the reactions, everything seemed slightly off. That's when speculation exploded. Because if this wasn't a simple update, then what was it? Inside the Fever, something had already been building, quietly. Not publicly, not dramatically, but beneath the surface. Because when a player like Caitlin Clark joins a team, she doesn't just add talent. She transforms it. The system shifts. The pace accelerates. Expectations rise. And most importantly, the balance inside the locker room changes. And that balance doesn't always settle easily. At first, everything appeared normal. Practices looked smooth. Team chemistry seemed strong. Media coverage stayed positive. But underneath it all, adjustments were happening. Roles were evolving. Voices were shifting. Decisions were being made. And not everyone experiences those changes the same way. Because when one player becomes the center of everything, it doesn't just elevate a team, it challenges everyone around her.
It would be hard for the Indiana Fever fans to part ways with Sophie Cunningham. It absolutely would be devastating. We want Tres Leches back together. We want the blonde bomber, Sophie Cunningham, back. Here it says, while the 29-year-old veteran only spent the 2025 season with the Fever and missed a solid chunk of games with an injury, she did many things to endear herself to Indiana's loyal fan base. Perhaps the 2 most important were being a spark plug and serving as star guard Caitlin Clark's enforcer, okay? We love Sophie Cunningham for stepping in during that Connecticut Sun ambush attack that was taking place on Caitlin Clark. Make no mistake about that. Here it says it earned her notoriety from the women's basketball community and admiration from Fever fans, Caitlin Clark fans. However, the harsh reality is that the WNBA is a business, and as much as everybody wants Cunningham back in Indianapolis, that Fever are between a rock and a hard place right now. Okay? Here, why the Fever protecting Sophie Cunningham doesn't make sense. The rules for the upcoming WNBA expansion draft for the Toronto Temple and Portland Fire were revealed March 25th. As expected, teams will be allowed to protect 5 players. The first 4 players are obvious for Indiana: Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, Lexi Hall, and Kelsey Mitchell. Most agree that the 5th option.
Everyone else has to adjust around that kind of gravity. Some players adapt quickly, some need time, and others struggle to find their place. That's where the tension begins. Not loud, not obvious, but real. Inside the locker room of the Indiana Fever, conversations were happening. Serious ones. About direction. About control. About how the team would actually function once the season started. And according to insiders, those conversations became more direct, more focused, more decisive. Because now, it wasn't just about potential. It was about expectation. And when expectations rise, so does pressure. That's where Caitlin Clark stepped in. Not publicly, not emotionally, but clearly. Because when you're the centerpiece, your voice carries weight. And what she said, according to people close to the situation, started to shift things. Not in a single dramatic moment, but through a series of decisions that followed. Suddenly, the direction felt set. And once a direction is locked in, everything else begins to adjust around it. That means roles change. Minutes shift. Responsibilities evolve. And sometimes, people do too. That's where Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull enter the picture. Because now, their positions didn't feel as secure as before. Not because of one mistake. Not because of one bad game. But because the entire system was changing. And when the system changes, fit becomes everything. If you don't fit perfectly, things can get complicated fast. That's when the timing of this announcement started to make more sense. Because if something shifted internally, then this wasn't random. It was connected. And if it was connected, then the word resigns might not mean what people first assumed. Because sometimes, a single word spreads faster than the truth behind it. By the time context arrives, the story has already taken on a life of its own. And that's exactly what happened here. People weren't just reacting to facts anymore. They were reacting to interpretations. An interpretation creates chaos. One clip can mean 10 different things. One moment can be seen from 10 different angles. And in a situation like this, that's all it takes. Meanwhile, the team stayed silent. No confirmations. No denials. Just silence. And instead of calming things down, that silence only made everything louder.
Since there are over 100 veterans who will become free agents, this limits their options, okay? Also, note is that the Fever can only give one core designation to a veteran this offseason and will almost certainly use that on Kelsey Mitchell. Therefore, if one of the two expansion teams were to use their pick on Cunningham, and thus give her the veteran supermax contract, as per the rules, she'll surely take that because she won't be able to get that much money from the Fever or any other team in free agency. And like I said, if Sophie Cunningham gets picked by another team in the expansion draft and they're giving her a supermax, the Indiana Fever, you were never going to give her that on the open market anyway, so you would lose her regardless. If you keep Sophie Cunningham, not core her, but if you protect her in the expansion draft, she still hits the market as a free agent. And if someone offers her a max contract, you can't match it anyway. You got to let her go. So there's no point in you losing a Michaela Timpson if something like that could happen. And the point is, I don't think neither one of these teams are going to pick Sophie Cunningham and give her a max contract to be there. So I think the Indiana Fever will be fine there, and she'll just be hitting the market as an unrestricted free agent, and the Indiana Fever would have the same opportunity to retain her. Okay?
Because when there are no clear answers, people start creating their own. And that's exactly what happened here. Some believe this was a major internal decision. Others thought it was just a misunderstanding. And some felt it was something even bigger still unfolding behind the scenes. That uncertainty is what kept the story alive. Now everyone is watching, waiting, trying to figure out what this actually means. Because if Caitlin Clark really made a move this early, then this isn't just a moment. It's a signal. A signal about direction, about control, about what the Indiana Fever are becoming. And if Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull are part of that shift, then their roles and their futures become part of the same story. Because once a team commits to a system, everything either aligns with it or gets left behind. That's what makes this moment so important. This isn't just about one announcement. It's about what comes next. If this situation continues to develop, more changes could follow. More adjustments. More surprises. Maybe even more moments no one sees coming. Because this is how it often begins. Quietly, confusingly, without clear answers, until suddenly, everything becomes clear. But by then, the impact has already started. And right now, it feels like we're at that exact point, where something has begun, but hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Because whatever this moment truly is, whatever it eventually turns into, it has already done one thing. It has changed the conversation. And once the conversation changes, everything else follows. In a league driven by attention, moments like this don't just fade away. They grow, they spread, and they come back even louder. So now, one question remains. What happens next? Because whatever that answer is, it's going to matter far more than anyone expected. If this really is the beginning of something bigger, then this sudden shift, this unexpected moment, is only the start.